Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hallie Quinn Show, where we show up here every single week and we talk about any topics all across the board, whether anything related to healing, self-love, growth, inner growth. So today we have the topic of sharing your truth is the best filter. Juicy, because this definitely goes into the relationships of your past and your relationships today, whether it's with a family member, with a significant other, or with a past partner, or with your friends. So this is a really juicy one, and this came up because we were talking about communication, and whether we're in the dating or a relationship or with family members and stuff, like communication is always an area that we're constantly learning from, especially when we're connecting with a new person or looking ways to enhance the relationships that we have today. And what we mean by filter is because when I think of a filter, I think of like a coffee filter, right? Where, like you're open for connecting with people, but then you want to leave out the bad and then like being able to really like accept the good, right? And so when we're out there connecting with people, like the truth is the best filter, because if someone can't accept that, perhaps they're not safe for you to be around. And if they do have the space to accept you, and when we say truth, there could be different levels of truth, right? Of who you are, what you've done in your life, what things that you're shameful of, what things that you're really proud of, like things that you really love. And so if they're able to accept that and have the space to really embrace that and accept you for who you are, perhaps that's like a safe person. They can be let through your filter. So that's what we mean by filter, and how your truth will definitely show perhaps like indicators of a safe person or not a safe person to let in through your filter. So hope that made sense. All right, so let's get into it. Hi everyone that's here. Hi Brandon, hi Bill, hi everyone else that we can't see. Feel free to share your thoughts on how you have seen sharing your truth, because it's scary. It's scary to share you, because we've grown up with people pleasing, and oh my gosh, that covers up our truth, and depending on how we grew up and the pains that we've had, people have rejected our truths, which we learn to keep our truths to ourselves, because we have this story now where people will not accept my truth.
Yeah.
So let me just be who I believe that they will accept. Mm-hmm. So Hallie, my lovely dear, we were just having a great discussion. So what comes up for you? What is the best way to bring this up for you? Like, how has sharing your truth has been a good filter for you? Or like, what have you learned about sharing your truth with other people to make sure that you're in a safe space with somebody with your heart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love the last thing you were just talking about the ways that we learn to repress our truth in order to like maintain a connection. But that is often like very counterproductive. We think that if we don't let ourselves actually truly be seen for who we really are and for what we're really experiencing, like warts and all, emotionally speaking too, like if we aren't able to really share our fear and our story and our trauma and our passion and our joy and all of it, if we aren't able to like let that be seen, then we get into inauthentic relationships. And so, but I think that like there's such a key piece here around accepting your own truth. Like first you have to be okay with your shame. Like you have to be okay with like your fear, and you have to have a relationship to that and an awareness of that in order to like show it to someone else, or else you're not going to be able to show it to anyone. And then if you can't show it to anyone, then you act in ways, or you react in ways that are like acting out the fear without being vulnerable in it, right? And like really letting yourself be seen and held tenderly and sweetly in it. And because some people have the capacity to hold you tenderly and sweetly in your fear and in your pain and in your shame and in your glory, and like other people don't, you know, and oftentimes we have experiences with those who don't at like early stages of our life, like from infancy potentially, and then we learn that like I can't let myself be seen in that way because I'm going to be abandoned if I do or rejected if I do, you know? So then we're like, but then when you get to the place in your life where you're just like, all right, so I get abandoned, so I get rejected, you know? Like I've still got me. And once you like have that like deep relationship with yourself, it's like you become more brave and letting your weaknesses show, you know?
Yes. Oh, you mentioned such a key place right there. Like, first of all, are we on the healing path to accept our truths? Like the good and the bad, how we grew up, the pains that we have, the things that we have done. And that's a journey. And just speaking from my own personal experience, since I said yes to the self-love journey and doing my healing, I've been able to be brave with myself in admitting the truths that I have been stuffing down. And the more that I did that, I started to see that, wow, like if I'm feeling this way, other people probably have this. And how do I say this? It became less taboo of me to talk about it because I have accepted that that's who I am. So then when I show up to to whether it's social media or to someone else, I'm not like feeling the ashamedness of it, which goes into your self-confidence. I'm more like, you know, there's a different energy and feeling that you have towards yourself now because you're like, wow, like I really feel like I've been able to process this and accept this. Like this is really, truly my story, my truth, and who I am. So when you show up with other people in other places, you're okay with it. And so if when you do share it and you see that someone's unable to hold it with love and accept you, you have this completely different approach to it and reaction to that. Like, okay, that's where they're at. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Because I've accepted myself.
Yeah.
They are unable to accept that because maybe it reflects something about themselves.
Totally.
Because I am telling you, we all have shame. We all have done something that we have been proud of. And also we have done things that we're so liking right now. And we accept that we like that. Like whether it's nerdy or whether it's super corny or it's super like out there. And when we accept that that's what we really like, we're good. And if people don't like that, is that really our issue? If people can't handle it, is that really our issue? So, yeah.
Yeah, and as you're speaking, I'm thinking about the ways that we our shame sometimes is something that we can't even pinpoint in terms of where it comes from or what we feel shameful about or what it is, because we internalize shame at such a young age, like pre-verbal, right? So before we even have words to talk about things, we experience incidents that create some type of a shame layer within our psyche. And then these layers pop up, and then we're just like, oh gosh, I just feel so embarrassed, or I just want to hide, or I don't feel like I can show up to this, without even really understanding why fully. So then it's just it's so important that we can track our emotions,
yes, I love
in
that.
our body, in our hearts, and really have a relationship to just the sensation of emotion as it pulses through us as living beings, because we can't always understand it. Some of the emotion that we are running is inherited from our lineage.
Totally.
Right? It's our parents' pain or our grandparents' pain, it can go really far back.
Seriously.
And so we don't always know why we feel a certain way, but to acknowledge that we do feel a certain way, and to have the courage to express that when it feels important. You know, like that's how you build connection with people, is through sharing the truth of how you feel, you know.
Right, which I know that is so scary. So there's like this process of like tracking your emotions, knowing that they are there, and having this like experience with yourself where you can look at it and like, you know what, I don't know how I inherited this, you know, because you're making me think of like how I grew up, and like I'm trying to pinpoint when I very first experienced pain, but even before that I was already so shy and mute and non-expressive. And so I'm like, I know something had to happen, and without getting so like I have to figure out why, just knowing that, you know what, there's things that I can't remember. So
it came from somewhere. You don't get to have all the answers.
Exactly. And what I'm going to is, you know what, there's probably things that I picked up from my parents already, because they're already having those behaviors that they're carrying from their past trauma and their past generations that probably was subconsciously instilled in me. And the most important thing is, what are you going to do with this pain that it's there? Because we talked about accepting it, right? And that is a whole process. So how will you express this to yourself? How will you acknowledge it? How will you be kind to it? You know, how are you going to practice healing with it? And then perhaps that will give you the courage and like the confidence to be like, okay, like I have this. I don't know exactly why, but I have this, and I'm going to continue to heal and do my thing. And when we do start kind of sharing little bits of our truths, I was telling Hallie here when I was like running examples of my own stuff, I'm like, okay, there's different levels of truths here. Like there's the truth how I'm like, okay, I am in the you know, self-love coaching realm because I'm in my own coaching realm. And sometimes when people ask me what I do, or like what kind of work do I do, I mean, that's a moment of I'm already feeling a little bit of hesitancy to even share that, because that is a part of me, and it's a very important part of my life because I tend to it every single day. And so like, and that's almost, I feel it feels deep, but then still kind of like surface, where I'm just sharing with somebody like what I do, and I find myself holding back a little bit of like my passion with it, depending on how they're receiving it. So there's different levels of truth that you can start off with to gauge, to be that filter to gauge how are people responding. Because if they're kind of like brushing it off, or like, oh yeah, cool, and they're not asking anything else about it, then I know that, okay, you know what, let me just move on to talk about something else, or like, let me ask about them. And why would I go on and talk about how passionate I am and like just share my whole story with it, you know? Which I know some of you guys have probably experienced. You're like, wait a minute, why did that not feel good? Like, I really wanted to share that, but why do I feel rejected right now?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Tabari and I talk about this a lot, because like we're open people. We're like transparent, open people, right? And we like to talk about our inner world and like what we're going through. And we talk about like sometimes we'll like lead with like our deep feelings, you know? And then like that can like really like it cannot be appropriate for the situation. It cannot be appropriate for the person if you haven't built trust with them yet. Right. To like go right in to like this is like who I am and my story and my pain and my everything, you know? So I like your whole like you have to like build trust through starting with the different layers and then like moving your way. Yeah,
and you already know when it's not, you're like, can't go there with them. Okay, I will no longer share this like, part of me with them, because I'm just going to get rejected, or I'm going to feel rejection and wasted like energy. Because when we share us, right, it does feel freeing, and then it's our heart. And so, oh my gosh, this conversation is almost leading to like just the topic of where are your safe people and safe places to share certain parts of your truth, you know?
Yeah, and sometimes you like when you are exploring a new connection, you're like navigating like what is safe here, and like, you know, and it's a really fun journey. I actually love the journey of like like how much of ourselves are we able and willing to see in one another.
Yeah.
And like this was another thing that we were talking about, like when you are getting to know someone, like having your eyes open to like the whole picture, right? And to like really being able to like see the other and like where they're coming from and like their story and like what they're willing to share, because we can get very like me and my pain and my trauma and my triggers and my wounding, and like they're just this like person who's activating me, you know? And it's like, but like let's like step out of ourselves for a second and like see the other and like really practice like seeing the other person and holding them compassionately and lovingly and like with acceptance, you know?
I love that. Oh, yeah. Because how many times have we didn't take a look at the bigger picture, you know? We weren't able to ask the right questions to get to know them. And when I say that, yeah, it's like getting to know the whole picture, you know? Like where they are on their emotional journey, you know, like how do they handle like unpleasant situations, because that can reveal a lot as well of their story and that perhaps their upbringing, and how are they able to handle the hard stuff, because there's going to be stuff that probably comes up for you and comes up for the other person. There might be a moment where there's conflict. So depending if this person has been able to handle their own conflicts or like negative situations, it will let you know how would I say it? How this person will be handling moments like that with that new connection. So it's a great skill. When you were sharing, I was like, it's a great workshop. When you connect with people and you get to practice being super aware of like your heart, your connection with yourself and with the other person, and recognizing, we were talking about this too, we're trying to come up with a title for this talk, but like recognize when you need to clear up your own stuff, because maybe what they're doing is reminding you of someone in the past, like so your deepest wounding. So like knowing when, okay, this is something about the past, so this is not even about them, it's about me right now. I need to heal. And then seeing like where that goes, and if you can even like express that whole process to somebody else, right? Like, hey, to be honest, this came up for me, and through my process and healing with it, it's what I've come up with. You know, just to even share that with somebody would be like the next level of sharing the truth. But I feel like it's the difference of like, are you projecting your past onto that person, or are you choosing to process it and then still being able to share it from a completely different place, you know?
Yeah.
You're not attacking them, you're sharing your process of how you process something that came up while you guys are connecting.
And projection is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen in relationships.
We're not perfect, you know?
It's so part of what happens in relationships, but it's like being able to catch it.
Yeah, right. Oh.
And like take responsibility for it.
Oh.
Once you've caught it, you know?
It's very empowering, actually.
It is. It's like, okay, I saw what I just did.
Yep.
And like, I'm going to own it.
Full
and
ownership.
Like, that was me projecting, you know? And that's the thing. It's like what my friend and I did an attachment circle recently, like a circle for like looking at our attachment styles and our attachment wounding and whatnot. And one of the articles that we brought to the group was about like children that had like secure parents and had a secure upbringing attachment wise. One of the like main things about the secure connection is that when the parents messed up, they were able to like go in for repair. So it's not about being perfect and being flawless and never projecting and like always saying the right things. It's like when you do, you know, like have a little moment and like say something that you're not proud of, or like act snarky when you're trying to protect yourself from feeling hurt. Yeah. Like that you go in to repair it.
Right? Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
Or else you're going to continue to blame. And yeah, like I love what you said about taking full responsibility when we notice, when we're aware that, oops, that was me. You know, that was coming from my past.
Yeah.
And I threw up.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's a pain
we
place.
are not freaking perfect. So allowing that to be like a whole process as well, which can really strengthen relationships, and you really get to see if the other person's really able to receive you and accept that this is you, you know, you're not perfect. You are on the healing journey, and yeah, I'm going to fuck up here and there. Can you accept that? I will own it. I'm open to have a conversation about it, you know, which is great indicators of a healthy relationship or friendship.
Yeah.
So hi everybody. Hi Terry. Thanks for the love. Thank you for the love, Terry. Thank you. And hi Steven. Hi everybody else. Marcella, Randy, everyone's watching, TJ. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. Anything else that you would like to share? This is so good. I mean, we had enough pains. Let's just say we have enough pain. So why not look into other options or look for support to really aid you in these tools and these ways of processing your own pains.
Yeah, and would you say, Quinn, I guess the last thing that I feel inspired to share is anytime I take the risk and share what I'm actually feeling, like share something that feels scary to share, like my vulnerable feelings.
This could be a great challenge for y'all.
It is always received the best. Like it's always received well, you know?
That is great. That means you're around some people that actually accept you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, this is just like, I think that, I am at a stage in my life where my relationships are where my relationships are like safe and strong. But I also just think that humans in general are pretty receptive to like, we're pretty receptive to like hearing each other's pain, you know, when it's presented from a place of like, this is mine and I'm like sharing it with you, more so than when we're trying to protect against it. So I don't know, just
there's
like
layers with this. I feel like what you said in the beginning. First of all, do you accept it? You know, because you're gonna have that story of your past of like, I'm never going to share my truth. I'm never going to be truthful to me because people are just going to reject it.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side where it's like, well, how will you know if someone is safe or not if you don't start sharing something to see? So is that what you're saying? It's like, we know that we're hurt, and also, but if we continue to live in this story where like no one is safe, it causes even more pain.
I guess I just feel like vulnerability for me on my journey has like always paid off. It's always been like a deepening experience usually. I can't. There have been some things in my past where it wasn't the best, but at this point, like now that I know how to like accept my own feelings, you know, it's like when I do that part and then I'm able to share my honest feelings, like it creates a deepening with someone way more often than not. So it's just encouragement to share your heart. That's all. That's all.
All right, you guys. Well, we sold out of our workshop for this month. Next month, we're going to be working on it. There's going to be another workshop in November. So much love. Like the Self Love Exodus page for any updates of any of our offerings. Thank you for being here with us. See you guys next week.